Hi, this is Dan Devlin for the Detective Dan Devlin Show. Honorable people, honorable nation. Welcome to the show. I hope you've been watching. And if you find things that are interesting, which I have no doubt you will, I hope you'll pass this program along to others, because I think you're going to agree that the things that we're going to say here today are going to be important to many, many other people as well. Today, we're going to talk about the situation in the United States that many people have been talking about, and that is the use of opioids, or in a broader discussion, the situation with the United States using, consuming, buying, abusing drugs of all different types. So this program is about you and the people who hopefully will watch this with you. And some of us, a significant number in the United States, have what we refer to as a drug problem. A drug problem is one that keeps us from doing the things that we really want to do in life. Often when speaking to people about these issues, I mention that we're the product of our decisions. And I think you'll agree with me that that's absolutely true. While other factors can affect us, it's how we deal with them that ultimately pulls us in one direction or another. Your life should be important to you. I can tell you, having written about what the United States is, how it's made up, and who's actually in charge, you're important to the United States. The United States exists because of you and people like you. We happen to reside here. This is our country. We are the ones who actually allow the laws to be made. We don't necessarily make them because we have legislators to do that, but I remind people that they are here to represent us. And because our program is Honorable People, Honorable Nation, you should know that I'm always interested in people who want to be honorable people so we can have an honorable nation. Using drugs, if it only affected us, would be one thing. But we all know, or at least should know, that the things we do affect many others. Whether it's something good or whether it's something bad, we touch many other people's lives because of our action. I do these programs because in another program we'll go into some of my history and background, but I've fought for this country. I've risked my life for this country. And even more important, the men who were with me who were not able to return and to continue their life expect people like me to fight to make sure that we have the honorable nation that they want for their descendants, for their loved ones, for their posterity, all their descendants until the end of time. And so, sure, I'd like to go do many other things. But I have a responsibility to them. You have a responsibility to them, because they may well have taken your place. and you get to carry on living in their country, which they earned, and they expect you to do what's necessary in order to make it and keep it a free, honorable nation. That's my goal. That's a goal of the people who help us do these programs. And I know it would be the goal of many other people as well, but oftentimes they wonder, how do I do this? One way that you do it is to limit the things that keep you from doing and being the decent, honorable citizen that you need to be. And you need to be that not just for yourself, but you need to be that because other people sacrifice so much, and you now benefit from their sacrifice. Many of the drugs that are used today are used in inner cities or in the lower economic segment of our society. But that's not always true. People with a lot of money decide that they're going to use cocaine or whatever their choice is as far as their drugs are concerned. But I want to talk to you about your responsibility, what you're doing. We talk about blaming people who are bringing drugs into this country. Unless someone is sitting you down and forcing it down your throat, aside from that, you are the one who made a decision to walk that path. Maybe you didn't want to walk as far down that road as you are now, or as far as you're headed. But you are responsible for taking that first step. And you are the one. People can put you in rehab, they can talk to you, they can send you to counselors, they can do whatever they want. But if you don't decide that you're going to be a better person, if you don't care enough about yourself, if you don't care enough about the people who you claim to love, do you really think that you're going to change your habits or your behavior? Religion can be a very motivating factor. The love of God can show you the way to conquer almost anything. And your faith doesn't have to be all-encompassing. It doesn't have to be stronger than anything else. You need to give God a chance. But even if that's not what you choose, the mere self-honesty of understanding the pain and suffering that you're bringing in many other people's lives should be enough for you to reject putting so many people through the pain, agony, suffering, the financial debt, the worry, the anxiety that you cause. You could turn this video off. You could say, I'm not going to listen to that. But I want to encourage people to be of courage, to be courageous, to do the difficult things, to say, to understand, I need you. I know, and I've said it before, maybe you've heard me say it, you could have people come across the border, come into the country from the oceans with tons and tons and tons of illegal drugs and offer them to people around the nation for free. And if we're an honorable people, if we want an honorable nation, if we seek help from those, if we can't do it on our own, and genuinely make the effort to be honorable people, those drugs would sit in a big pile somewhere, and people could pass by them on the right and the left, and it wouldn't matter. Because we would not use them. We would not pick them up. We would not go near them. We wouldn't give them much thought. And if we do, we'd be saying, let's get those out of there because some kid who doesn't understand things might be tempted by this. I need people who have been tempted, who have started to use drugs, who are thinking about it, or thinking about hanging around people who do, which that's the little gateway there. Come be my friend. We'll have fun. You can do a lot of different things with me. Here, do you want to try this? Oh, you like that? How about this? Here, how about this? You know, you're really going to love this. You are then in the palm of their hand. You will do things you never thought you would do in order to gain control, access, and use that tablet or chemical or powder or whatever it is. I want you to be a powerful human being. I want you to be free from the control that those things will have over you, and the people who want you to use them will have that power and control over you. We talk about freedom in this country. It's a wonderful thing. But no matter how much freedom you have, if you use it to do something that enslaves you, that controls you, how free can you be? This is all about you. Many of you know that my background, a large segment is in law enforcement, various aspects of it. I know many good human beings who have done bad, terrible, even hideous things because of their need, their lust, their uncontrolled effort to obtain some chemical that would change the way their mind works, would make them feel better temporarily. There's pain in the world. There's suffering in the world. There's things that are confusing. People make us angry. It's something called life. And it happens to most of us. But when we're committed to a vision of ourselves that shows us as a good, decent, honorable person, these are choices we can make, and when we understand that, we have the ability to take that path just as much as we have the choice to take the other path, which normally results in criminal behavior of one aspect or another. It saddens me as I've watched people in prison or jail, and I look at their future. It doesn't mean that their future has ended, because they too can change, and there are opportunities you can have even in a prison environment. You can do tremendous things there, but you're limited, of course. So I don't want you to lose hope if you're in that situation. And I do know that if you are then released, your chance for opportunities on the outside will be much greater than if you simply have an attitude of going back to that same way of life. These are individual decisions that you make every single day. We do it with many things. I wrote a play called The Decision, and it was based upon our human inclination towards addictions of all types. And I start out by discussing ice cream. And even ice cream can be addicting. How do we start with ice cream? Generally, it's with vanilla or chocolate or maybe strawberry. And then, because we like it, when somebody offers us pistachio, almond fudge, or think of any kind. I mean, they're amazing, the number of kinds that they have out there. And so we try one after another. Oh, wow, this is good. And then somebody offers us a hot fudge sundae, and we say, holy smokes, I wonder if I'd like that. And then we go ahead and we have that, and all of a sudden we're putting on weight, and we can't control this because we love this. But most of us, and we should train ourselves to understand that there are limits. There's an old expression about everything in moderation. Well, I don't know about everything, but certainly moderation is a good thing. And I say not everything because even a little bit of some things can hurt you drastically. I wouldn't suggest that you have a small glass of arsenic, or of snake venom. So I don't know that everything in moderation. There are some things we should not touch anything of, or any portion of it. But this has to be with personal responsibility. You know that I talk about responsibility. When I talk about rights, I say you can't have rights without meeting those responsibilities. And part of that responsibility is to treat others the way you want to be treated. If you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to have others treat you the way you're treating others, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. In the United States today, it seems as though our value system has gone down the drain to a very large extent. Everyone has an excuse for what they're doing, and many people don't even want to change. Without a good moral position, without an understanding that we are of value as human beings, and we can accomplish great things. There are many people in life who had lives that were pretty tumultuous. Sometimes they weren't made up of the best behavior. The decisions they made weren't necessarily the best decisions. We've all made poor decisions at one time or another, I would suspect. But some people more than others. But then all of a sudden something happens and they say, what am I doing? And if they're honest, they will say, who am I hurting? I'm hurting myself, and I'm hurting the people who count on me, the people I love, the people who I should be loyal to, my community. Life is difficult. But I need you. Honorable people need you. We need you to be strong. We need you to be a seeker of the truth. And anyone who seeks the truth would have to look at drugs of all different types and say, is this something that will benefit me? When it comes to illegal drugs, those who are not prescribed by a doctor and some that are prescribed by doctors, we even have to be careful there. Just because it's prescribed by a doctor doesn't mean that that's the best thing for us. If we do our research, we might decide, wait a minute, it has more side effects than it has benefits, and instead of taking this drug in order to lose weight, I'll go ahead and I'll exercise. Or whatever the situation is that you're dealing with. Are there natural things that I can do in order to solve this problem that I have? But it takes you being the detective. This program is the Detective Dan Devlin Show, and yes, I've been a real detective. But I named it that because I want you to understand that it takes searching, being that investigator, trying to find the right and just solution to the problems. And here today, we're talking about the situation that hampers us from being the best nation that we can be. Your individual life is so important to who we are as a nation. You can drag it down, and you can drag all the people around you down with you, or you can lift them up. You can be the inspiration. You can be the individual that they look to and say, I know Uncle Billy was an alcoholic. But when he was 23 or 30 or 35 or whatever age it is, he looked at the world differently and he decided to meet his responsibilities to all of us. And he realized that that alcohol would do him no good and would do tremendous harm, not only to himself but to many others as well. I've talked about understanding who our friends are. A friend to me is an individual who will be honest enough with you to tell you when you're hurting yourself or innocent others. Anyone who won't do that, they might be a good acquaintance because you know them, you've seen them around, but they're not what I call a friend. You need to examine who your friends are. And you need to not be around those who are not your friend. Some of the greatest friends oftentimes are those who maybe you don't even know. People who are working in order to help you, and maybe you never even meet them. They're trying to work for legislation that allows people to get the help they need, that allows you to have the opportunities to have pride in yourself. And not the wrong kind of pride that is overly boasting, but the kind of pride that says, I know I have value. I know that I'm contributing to the betterment of my family, my community, my nation. There are many people, and I hate to tell you this, there are many people who want you to be dependent on them. Oftentimes these people are involved in government. And I don't want to paint them wrongly, but many people depend upon having criminals and those who are a problem to society in order to achieve their goals. Stop and think about it. People who work in the parole career, maybe even in the prison environment. Ask yourself, if we reduce the number of people in prison, would we have to have fewer prison guards? Would we have fewer parole officers? Would we need fewer lawyers? And that is a driving force. The fact that lawyers need crime, pain, suffering, confusion, conflict, they need that in order to make their money. Now, there are some honorable people who are serving in that capacity now, but I can assure you virtually all of them, especially in the criminal so-called justice system that is so unjust, if you ask them, what if we reduced crime by 50%, what would happen to lawyers? Chances are they'll be honest, and they'll tell you those lawyers will have to find other work. And because we have judges who are lawyers, who are endorsed by the Bar Association, whose job it is to look out for the betterment and the well-being, the economic benefit to lawyers, we have a conflict of interest. You should know that I've suggested we need to change that. And I'll tell you right now, the way we change it is do not elect lawyers to any legislatures or executive branches, and remove lawyers from judgeships and get good and decent people from all different walks of life. They will not have that loyalty to the Bar Association or lawyers, and when things need to be decided justly, they'll do exactly that, or at least be more likely to do it than if they're making their money and the people they associate with and their group of people all make money because there's pain, suffering, misery, and pain. And that's the truth about what you're doing. You are helping them undermine what this nation is supposed to be about. Look at Congress. You can see that the vast majority of them are lawyers. And people say, well, they're lawmakers, they should be. You can always consult a lawyer if you need their advice. But when you're a doctor, a dentist, or a teacher, or a plumber, or a businessman in some other area, you see life differently than people who have spent many years in the justice system. People who do that, they know what the justice system is like, and you try to change it for the better, and they will actually interfere and get in your way. I've had it happen to me. So this is about the truth. You need to know that you're being used by certain people in our society, and they make sure that drugs are available. We could end this if we wanted to, but nothing can end it quicker than you deciding. And if you're associated with drug people, people who are on drugs, you might be able to influence them. If we refuse to do this, there is nothing they can do to ruin our lives in that way, because we will refuse to do that. Being honest with you, when I come back from Vietnam, I had my own drinking spell. I've driven while intoxicated a number of times. I could have killed someone, wiped out a family, put people in the hospital, but for the grace of God, that didn't happen to me. But it happens to others, and it happens on their first time sometimes. It will change your life and the life of many of the people that you know and love. I've got to run. My plea is for you to be courageous and do what needs to be done. Be an honorable person. We love you. And I want you to love yourself and others as well. God bless you all. Have a great day. This is Dan Devlin for the Detective Dan Devlin Show. Honorable people, honorable nation.